Hi, my name is Goldman, and I'm an attorney from Goldman and Associates. And today we have a topic that's very, very popular, and something that we're asked a lot about is how the whole COVID-19 can affect custody rights. Well, really, it shouldn't have any effect. In other words, if you were together as a couple and you had custody of a child as a couple and someone had COVID-19, how would you handle it? Well, probably someone would be quarantined, or every effort would be made to make sure that nobody gets negatively impacted by the fact that you have COVID. It's not, something that you spread to other people. You take steps to do that, right? Well, what do you do if you're in, let's say, a custody battle, you're living separately, and then it becomes a question of sending the child, and maybe the child at that point becomes exposed to COVID-19 because you've been exposed. So this is a very common thing that comes up. The courts are right now constantly faced with parents who don't want to get parenting time because they think there may be a COVID-19 exposure, all these things. Here's what you've got to realize though. When it comes to parenting time, the court, number one, has heard all the excuses about not complying with parenting time, including the excuse of COVID-19. Number two, the court is going to look at it like, well, okay, what's going to happen if I don't grant the parenting time? In other words, if the child is going to spend weekends running around with his friends, even with masks on, and you don't know what of those friends have been exposed, how are you in position to raise that now about this possible exposure just because it's your ex-husband or ex-wife? So the court's very wise to that. I wouldn't expect to get too much traction on that. I think the court will say, well, you need to take appropriate precautions if there's a potential risk. Both parents are responsible. They don't want their kids to get sick. They're going to take the responsible actions. That's about parenting time. As far as long-term custody is concerned, I can't see where a court will make a custody decision based on whether or not COVID-19 might cause one child to be impacted by it. The court makes custody decisions to set forth a roadmap until the child turns 18. Or longer in some cases. So you're talking about many, many years down the road. I can't see the courts necessarily making a decision today that is COVID-19 governed as it relates to custody. That'll be further down the road. More likely than not, the court is going to go through the custody factors and make a custody determination based on those factors. If there are COVID-19 concerns, the court may overlap the custody and the parenting time with appropriate safety precautions. But it's not likely that the court is going to take into account an immediate COVID-19 situation as it determines long-term custody. If you have any questions about that, or you're in that circumstance, circle back to us, and of course we'll be glad to help you out.